here, and I've got 5:01 and 5:58. So if it's okay with you all, we'll go ahead and call this meeting to order for the Hartsville-Trousdale Water Sewer Utility Board for the January 25th meeting. And I'm going to put somebody on the spot for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance, if anybody will step up for that. Todd, you follow with us the Pledge of Allegiance then? Okay. Will you follow us with the invocation?
Yeah, I was throwing Dwight under the bus. We did it last night.
I'll pray with me. Heavenly Father, we pause now at this time of day to give you thanks for all the blessings of life. We're so thankful for the group that's assembled here. We ask your insight and your blessings on our endeavors to better serve our communities. We come from diverse backgrounds and diverse situations and bring many things, our personal experiences, to the table. We hope that everything that we do is for the good of our community and is good in your sight. All these things we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Roll call. Here.
Here.
Thank you. We have a quorum. I did hear from Mr. Mark, but I've not heard from Ms. Kendra on anything back from her yet. Maybe she'll come in later. Our next order of business is our apprenticeship program. We've got 2 new enrollees. Mr. Tommy, if you want to introduce them, that'd be great.
Yeah, we actually signed on Friday in the mayor's office, did official signing, and they started their first day of training Monday on the program as far as it kicking off, and thought we ought to, since board members usually don't know employees, we thought we'd introduce y'all to them. And they're sitting behind you there, Jesse Proctor and Carlton Reese, and we got all of our employees are very good employees, but these gentlemen here, they do real well. They real good with giving them tasks to do and getting them done, and I really appreciate all of them, but they do stand out. And I think for the 2, Carlton will be doing the water treatment side, and then Jesse will be doing the wastewater side. But they both courses are similar. There's only like 3 classes between them, so I'm going to let them do both of them, and eventually they can get both disciplines done that way. And I think Carlton had, when they looked at, when we got them evaluated, and Mr. Bird and I did that, he got, I think Carlton got 1,500 hours credit toward, because he had some TCAT, his TCAT education helped him a little more. And Jesse got 1,000 hours credit, so that's got them a little boost head start. They got to get about 4,000 something hours, but for 2 years. And we got to get with Mr. Bird and schedule their classwork for the year, this year, coming year. But we look forward to what they can accomplish. It's going to be a kind of tough, but they make it, and we'll help them all we can. I'm a mentor to for Carlton's side, the water plant, and Penny's going to be the mentor for Jesse. We had to have 2 mentors, or a mentor per person, so we'll keep track with them, make sure they're doing everything they need to do, and also have a meeting we'll be meeting with Mr. Bird on their progress as well as we go through this process. But I'm not going to make them give a speech or nothing like that, but I've worried them about it, but I don't know if I'll make them. But that's all we had. I just wanted y'all to be introduced to.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you stepping up to the plate.
We're gonna be watching you.
Our next order of business is the election of officers. I did speak with, I did communicate, I'll put it that way, not traditional speaking, but with Todd Weber, who's played the role of secretary, and Mark White, and Mark has agreed to remain the co-chair if needed. And do we have any nominations? I did not receive any by email. If anybody, do I need to? Yes, sir.
I would make the motion that we leave the officers as they are now, going into the next year. You as chairman, Mark as vice chairman, and Todd as secretary.
You okay with that? Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, gentlemen. I have a first and a second. We have a vote. We vote for this. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Then the next order of business, we have the approval of your minutes. They were in your packet that you received the other day that Tommy sent out. Hopefully you've had a good chance to look over them.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Thank you for the
Second.
motion and the second. Have a first and a second on the floor. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Then we're going to go and we have our financial reports from closing out the 2021 November, December months. It is a little lengthy. I'm sure many of us have spent quite a bit of time to look at those over the weekend. Anybody have any questions about those? Yes, sir.
Hey, was there anything that you need to point out that was unusual or an anomaly? Or I looked them over very thoroughly. I didn't find anything, but just was wondering if maybe there was something you would like to bring to our attention that might cause us to be short going forward or anything like that. Nothing that you can think of.
Nothing that we see as a shortcoming. There was a line item in there in contribution and gifts. That was part of, Mary Dale's been after me to get to capitalize some of our projects we've been working on. And that's part of that's 1 year of fire hydrant replacements there, but we capitalize that money, and that's how much we spend in labor and some material maybe, but labor and equipment. So it gets capitalized. That work we do. And I got another year to do for 2021, and we'll start this year too. So you might see another one of those next month.
Motion to approve the financials.
I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second? Jewel carries the second. I'm sorry. Thank you, Mr. Jewel, for your second. And all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Our next order of business is our water loss report. It is included in your packet.
No, we're a little bit lower than we were the last year on the last 2 months. We've had quite a few leaks here this month, but we found them, they occurred very quickly and we fixed them very quickly, but it's all the cold weather. We've had some meter bottom bust out. We fixed like 2 or 3 leaks yesterday in a row there, one after another. So, but cold snap does that sometimes, especially when it gets warm and it fluctuates. But we're still waiting on a part. We're still planning to do replace the check valve at the water plant. That'll hopefully help fix the raw water meter situation. If that doesn't fix it, we're going to replace it with something. May have to anyway, but it's out of date. But it functions. But this one of the reasons it fails. This check valve lets water not hold in the pipe, and it gets air in it, and it messes it up a lot. So. And they're always shutting off and on all day, and it's just hard to keep the air from getting in there without going down and physically bleeding it every time it happens.
I know that's one thing that we had discussed in our previous meeting. So getting the parts, is that what's the holdup on it, or?
The valve, we're waiting on the check valve.
Okay, it's ordered, but we just can't get it in?
I think they got it. They're just scheduling it now. That's getting it scheduled.
Okay, who will actually be doing the install?
The Wascon will do
Okay,
that.
okay, so just waiting for them to do it.
We're waiting on them to get it in their booting schedule. They have been doing some things for us here and there because they're doing emergency work for us, but it's on their list to get done.
Okay, thank you.
There's not any other questions about a water loss worksheet and report. Next order of business will be our engineering report from Evan White with Mid-10 Engineering. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you. CDBG, they released announcements yesterday. I've not heard from Fay Leonard, and I'm sure none of y'all have. Or okay, he has. Did not get awarded. I spoke with another administrator over that, and they said just about every job that they had that normally gets awarded did not get awarded this year. The counties that typically did a viable project that's never been available for CDBG. They talked about it. I just got to make sure that that is going to be one of their. Go. So that's the one that got turned down. Water lines, there's, even if you didn't have the customer base criteria, there's none that even comes close by that feasibility study we've done to even get close to their criteria of being competitive. There's also an option to do like EMS type stuff. A lot of people puts gets ambulances and fire trucks and things like that. So that's a category also that's part of CDBG.
I was going to say, I'd looked over the list and there were quite a few sewer line rehab type projects that were approved. I think Grundy County, I believe, had one. Smith County, I believe, had one. But I was surprised at the number of other projects like fire trucks and EMA and things like that that you typically don't see on those. But even I think that group, there was very little water line or water type projects approved in that round that I saw.
Yeah, I was told by the administrator, one of them, that this year it swapped. Usually you have a lot of infrastructure projects, and this year you had more community livability projects getting awarded. So it kind of flip-flopped. So.
Thank you, Mr. White. No one else has any questions?
Thank y'all.
Next order of business is our general manager's report. Start off with the increase in withdrawal of the source water from the Cumberland.
Yeah, I think I spoke to the mayor, and me and Evan talked too about it. I guess one of the things me and Evan talked about might be best just, I thought we might all, since we hadn't got any, probably may not make much progress for right now with a regional, that we might all just go ahead and approach getting what we can for ourselves. But I think we talked about getting this study out of the way and having that data to back up to go with that before we approach that. And I just hate to let it dwindle around to, you just don't never know what TDEC's behavior will be. Sometimes they could change their mind. They have been known to, but I think that's what we discussed about. If y'all want to leave this on the agenda, just take it off for a while, we can, until we can pick it back up. That's my question tonight, would be to ask about that. Just table this for a while, or take this off the agenda until we get the data to talk about it again, if that's something y'all wish to do. Or I may take it off until we get somewhere to deal with it. And we did have a bid opening for the on-call services, and Mr. Kemp was the only bidder. I think the price change was no more than, it might have went up $25, what it was the last time. Wasn't very big of a change in the cost. I brought that before y'all if y'all wanted to discuss it or put some final approval on it.
Do we need to make a motion to approve that one? Motion to approve the Kemp Brothers bid in the amount of $4,344,000 for on-call services.
Thank you for your motion, Mr. Weber.
And that, just to clarify that number, we have to give him totals to bid on. It's not that he's going to be paid that much money, but he has to bid on a certain amount of footage. So for the public to know, we ain't spending that money. He had to have some guideline to bid on the services. So, and that was a guideline we set out. So
That was going to be my question, more clarification for anyone that's listening to this or looks at this later.
Yeah.
It's not that we're spending this, it's
yes,
up to that amount,
Yeah.
basically, that each individual service that he
Yes.
might render to us, just strictly on an on-call emergency type basis.
Yeah, it's not what we will pay out. It's you just have to give him something to base bid on to get pricing, to have something to compare to. So.
Well, why do you think we didn't have any other bids? Do you think that they're just don't want to be obligated at this point in time, or there's just not anyone else in the area that's doing these type things?
Well, him and the only two contractors close, and they gotta be here within 72 hours. That's a
Right.
little bit of a limitation.
That's why I was,
'Cause
didn't know
it's-
whether that played a big factor.
I think
into
that
it.
plays a factor. We have had some contractors that have not performed well, and we probably wouldn't address those or
Thank
allow
you.
them to be here. And that would be the other factor.
I will be glad to second the motion, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you for the second, Mr. Jewell. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. You'll continue with your report, sir?
Yes, ma'am. We have the audit findings in here from the auditor this year. Mayor requested that we add it to this agenda today, to this meeting agenda. And basically they had the two deficiencies was the department had deficiencies in the maintenance of capital asset records. And I think we've got a handle on what that, Mary Dale understood what that was. Just basically booking sold assets or assets that are no longer here. And we're going through a list. We was going through that list today of assets, trying to figure out what they were. We have a whole sheet that don't even exist anymore. So we're going through and cleaning that up. And that's going to be helpful to part of our, we have to do we're doing our scorecard for this ARP funds, and also for, have to do a asset management plan for our assets. So going through all that's going to clean all that up and help us prepare that document. The second thing was the competitive bids were not solicited for some work on the sewer lines. This contract we just approved take care of that. I think in the contract it had a provision to that you could extend it or mutually extend it, and we did that verbally, and it was supposed to be in writing, and that's where that come in. I think the intent was to do it in writing. It just slipped away from me as my fault. But that's where that come in. But this new contract is a 3-year period contract, so we don't have to do it every year. But it all has the same, there's, 90 days, we could both terminate or whatever if there's a disagreement or disapproval from both parties. But that's in place for 3 years now, so we won't be worrying about bidding it every year. And I think that's the trend.
Yes, Mr. Jewell.
What line was it? Was this more than one or just one? Oh, this sewer line up here. Okay. Okay. It should have been bid, or we went with the no bid and it had expired. I'm not sure which it was.
Well, I guess the contract probably was considered null and void, but that's what we was working on. That's how that come about. I guess we did not renew it correctly or do it correctly, and considered it was considered not to be terminated, I guess you might say, because we did not do it in writing. Yes.
Yeah, I think the contract expired around November 1st or 5th, somewhere around in there. And this project was bid out or done in February of the following year.
Mm.
And my understanding is Tommy said they had orally agreed to extend the contract, but the contract term stated that it had to be in writing to extend it. And so it wasn't put in writing, and so that tripped. The comptroller looked at it and said that it didn't meet the requirements of the contract. And so next time, that's like Tommy said, they did this one on a 3-year. I'm sure when it gets near the end of the 3 years, it'll either be bid out, or if it allows you to extend it, it'll be done in writing.
Anybody else have any questions for the report?
Next month, I think Miss Amy's done tentatively moved the meeting up to, because it's a holiday on Monday, so the county's moved theirs over to Tuesday, which was our spot. So she tentatively moved us to Thursday because the IDE board, Digital Development Board, moved to Thursday too, which they come in after us anyway here, if that's suitable. Just want to make sure y'all were aware of that. If it need to be, if y'all had a conflict, if y'all need to do anything, I think you could change it, but I think she tentatively has moved it. But as long as y'all can make that meeting, if something happens, we might could do an advertisement to change it if y'all have a conflict you're not aware of.
Yeah, I guess we need to advertise for this change as well, right? Or is it?
If she's done.
And this is the
posting,
24th of February?
it'll be, I don't know what day it is, 24th, Thursday on the 24th at 5. We'll be sure to let the other board members that didn't hear, I'll let them know that they might be aware of it. If there's a conflict, they'll be aware of it.
I'm good as well. I'll request input on their availability, those who aren't here. So.
I meant to bring it up when Evan was up. I forgot about Evan, that the T-Dot, is working toward the new 141 bridge and going across. And I had a meeting with them, and I talked to Evan after this meeting, but no, I guess in the original plans or thoughts, nobody ever asked about putting a water line across this bridge. And I think they call it betterment. We can do that. It's just going to cost us the money to add it to it. And they will do it during the project, but I think it's wise to do that. I think the largest line we learned you could put a casing would be 12-inch. So we could put 2 casings in there and put 2 8-inch lines through there. I think that would be wise to add to the project. And we're working, Evan's having to go through and redo all that stuff from the past because it's out of date. He's got to reprice everything, give them an updated cost estimate. So we're looking at things that have to be moved. We found one thing that they didn't catch that had to be moved. 10-inch sewer line on Highway 10, Highway 25 will have to be relocated where they're going to do the overpass. So we're looking at all that. I just want to let y'all be aware of that I think it'd be prudent to have that added because it'll be a lot more expensive probably to do it after it's built. And two, I don't know that all this planning we've been looking at, that new road's going to open up new land for probably sale. It could be homes developed. So if you want a water line through there, it would be I think that they want us to go ahead and lay out that line on that, to do the layout where that line's going to go on that highway. That was what I understood from them, and we could work toward getting that plan. It may not be that we do it right now, but it'll be in place.
That's my question. Do we go ahead and have it engineered, whether we go ahead and build it or not? And what is it going to tie into? I mean, you're going to put, what'd you say, 2 8s or an 8, or what is there on either side of that to even tie into? I don't think there's an 8 all the way out. I mean, how's it going to benefit us?
Well, hydraulically, you can bring water from another tank over to cross the river. One day the farms are going to probably go away and your houses are going to boom. So you're going to be building up that side. Right now we're pumping water to a tank through the bridge now, and it's a 6-inch, and it's a smaller line.
But your water plant is on the north side of the river. Mm-hmm. And you're going to be uphill to this bluff side at Lebanon Pike. So you're going to be pumping up there to the tank that's out there near Kelly Lane?
Ward Hill tank.
Ward Hill tank.
That's what we pump to now.
Okay. And that line now comes across the existing bridge and back out through there. And it's a 6, 8, 6. Okay. Is it in any way going to benefit the properties on the north side, say coming down Sam Beasley Road down through there? Yeah. Other than to loop them together?
Well, Sam Beasley don't have a water line down it till you get to where you intersect Lock 6 and Sam Beasley.
Okay.
There's no water line.
So Lock 6 goes all the way down into that subdivision. So what is the largest line going down Lock 6?
6.
It's a 6?
Yeah.
Okay,
And it goes to a 4. And there's some, we've talked in the past about projects going to loop around to the prison and running a 12 around San
Right.
Beasley and go. So that would be a continuance of hooking into that, or you would run off Highway 10 with a 12 and run down and get that on the new road.
because it wouldn't be very far as the crow flies from the water plant to come across, say, Dr. Miller's land to hook in where the bridge will be on this side. So I could see that you would actually connect there, maybe not loop all the way back around either way, but,
Yeah.
and then you could go either direction with it. So I could see where it'd be a great benefit. We know we're going to have growth in that area. It's just a matter of how long. It only makes sense to try to do it if there's any way we possibly can on the front end. Like you say, it's just something that's going to cost more later. Evan, have you looked at it at all to know the hydraulics on it or the engineering on it or any possible guesstimates of cost?
Yeah, I've got to do it for T-Dot.
He's doing
So
it.
I've got to tell them the price that y'all will know. Okay. It gets bid out during the project.
Okay.
And then it's up to y'all to pay the better. So y'all don't even have to do it. You can kill it. Y'all don't have to accept it.
Well, I think as far as it being a part of the project or the, even paying for the engineering, whether we pay for actual construction at this point is a no-brainer. Mayor, do you have any thoughts on it?
I agree with Tommy. I think we're going to see growth once that road comes through. I think we're going to see a lot of growth in that area. Plus, I'm also interested in how it's going to affect that branch right now off of Starlight where we don't have a water line. And my concern of that is if we get that completed, we create a loop line that feeds back to PowerCom. And I think sometime either last summer or late last summer, we had water go out and we had 2,500 inmates that had no water, so they couldn't use the restroom or anything else. And that creates a dangerous situation. And so I'm highly interested in creating a secondary line up to that area to feed PowerCom and most specifically to have a backup to that prison. Because if you go out without water for a certain time, you're looking at prison riot. And so I'm very concerned about trying to address that situation.
Yeah, that actually, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Can you bring us a price? When do we need that? When do you need an answer on this?
It's a year away. They just want us to they want him to get his stuff together, get them submitted, numbers and anything that needs to be moved. That's probably the process. We just got to get them the cost estimates. I think I was mistaken, Mayor, about I talked to the mayor about $1.35 million. He recommended doing, if you're going to do water and sewer, if you have something to change, do them separately because you get 1.35 million toward that betterment. I think it is, or that ain't it, right? You might explain. It's only for their part. They got monies to move your utilities, 1.35 million. So that's per utility. You want to file 2 separate projects because they get for sewer and water that same amount. Is what he was trying to tell me, but Evan's familiar with all that, and I sent all that information to him that they sent me, and requested that he start working on it because we got to do it.
There's a bunch of 2 inches.
Yeah, a bunch of 2-inch stuff.
There's nothing large except for the force.
Just for the 10-inch force main.
Okay, Evan, if you could come on the microphones because I can't hear you. And then also so the 1.35, that's water and sewer is that within the project area or is that in so much space of the project area?
That's in the project area. So TDOT's if it's in the way and they're building a road, they're gonna allow $1.35 million worth to be moved in the project. They'll pay for it. Y'all don't pay a dime for it. We have to design it and bid it out in with the project. So the only issue that you will have that they no longer let you do it. They used to years ago, probably the last one, if y'all ever done a relocation, they used to let y'all bid it out. And that kind of lets you call the shots with the contractors. The only downside of doing it this way is you don't get to choose the contractor. So you'll get a road contractor, say LoJack or Vulcan or somebody like that, and they'll wind up subbing this out. And whoever they're with, you can kind of raise a little bit of cane, but pretty much you'll have one of us out there looking at it. So, but that's the only thing. You don't get to choose the contractor. You don't really get to accept or deny on the project, but they are paying for it if it's in the way. So a lot of the 2-inch will get paid for. There's a 10-inch force main out here at Highway 10 and 25 that they missed. A box culvert's going in there, and it'll get in the way of it. So we're proposing to move that out of the way. I think they didn't have the 6-inch where it begins on 141. Maybe it was something was going on there. Maybe the way they had it, it was best I remember. Me and Tommy looked at this a couple weeks ago. We're going to try to redo that a little bit from what was done. This was done in 2012. Was the last time they had anything submitted to them. So we're having to go back to 2012 and try to figure out what was going on in their mind and and redo it and bring it up today's time and money. So, and they want it in 45 days, I think. So, but the point of this was I wanted Tommy to bring it to y'all because if y'all want to do the betterment, then we kind of need to know to show it. And you can kind of do two things. You can run a line all the way down the road from one end to the other. I can't even remember how many miles it is. I could look that up. I don't have that off the top of my head. Or as Tommy said, for sure, we're suggesting you get on the other side of the bridge because it's going to be a nightmare to hire somebody to come in. This bridge is quite a span. So it'd be easier for the bridge contractor to put the casing in there and then a utility contractor put the water line in during the project. And TDOT don't care if it runs to nothing as far as the water line. I mean, it's y'all are paying for that part since it's betterment. Betterment would be, so y'all understand the betterment part. The betterment's if you add something that's not in their way of movement, or if you increase the size. So let's say a 2-inch is in the way. If y'all say, no, we want a 6-inch, then they're gonna make you pay the price difference from a 2-inch line to a 6-inch line. But the 2 inches we found was like services to houses. Basically, it was not a main line. So, but that's kind of how their betterment works. I mean, you can change a lot of stuff, but they're going to make you pay for it. If you leave it alone as far as size, and the only thing is location. Basically, they're relocating. That's what it means. With the same type of material and size, they pay for it. Up to 1.35, and that's what Tommy's talking about. I think they had a telephone conference maybe with them or something, phone call with them, and that they suggested if you're going to do it, to do 2 separate contracts, one for water and one for sewer. That way you get that 1.35. I don't see it being anywhere close to 1.35 even for both of them from the old estimate that we've seen for what's getting moved. Betterment does not count in that. So I mean, it's, you know, whatever that is they don't care because it's coming out of your pocket. So that helps clarify the 141 project.
I would say we need to pursue it, move forward with it, get the information from them, and don't ignore it. You know, just put it on the front burner and try to run with it. Like I say, we want to be proactive as much as we can, and if we have this opportunity, certainly we want to try to avail ourselves of it. And I appreciate you bringing it to us and staying on top of it, both of you. I know the two of you can get us the information that we need without any doubt. So I don't know that, do we need any kind of a motion to move it forward at this point? I don't see that we do, but long as the intent of the board, I think the consensus of the regiment is to carry forward with it, not ignore it.
I don't see no reason for a motion because, like I said, y'all can deny it all the way up to the bid opening. So once you get the money, you can, then's when you'll actually make a motion to accept it and pay it, or tell them to discard it.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Mr. Tommy, is there anything else?
That's all I had, unless anyone else has anything.
Okay. Have any public comments? Have a no. Any board member comments?
I do have something. We were kind of talking about it when we were walking in. Just Tommy, if you haven't already, kind of with all the supply issues out there in the world, just really dial in on any kind of materials that are real showstopper, critical type stuff. And if you're not already, identify that stuff. Make sure we're putting our hands on it if we need to, and that kind of thing.
Yeah, we've been trying to do that as we go, and the prices have been, this is the biggest time, I've never seen no prices change as much as I've seen in this last year. They keep, one product we use, all the setters and stuff we install meters with, those prices jump at least 12% just at the first of the year. We pre-bought all that up to buy some more to have it in stock because we use it a lot. We actually not only put meters in, but we actually do maintenance and replace bad stuff and put these new sets in for customers when they go bad. Because we used to just change these little the valves go bad in the old setter and we'd change them, but there's about $100. You might as well just go ahead and put the whole new setter in there and you got a better, and I think when lead and copper ever gets real serious, that's a good thing because these things are no lead. So they'll meet the requirements of the no lead too. When the time, if that ever gets to be a pretty hot thing, it might one day. But we're proactive here about trying to get stuff fixed, replace stuff. I hope to start some clean out replacements or installs that we don't have clean outs this summer or this spring. Hope to try to do some stuff in the sewer and maybe look, and Evan's reviewing those projects too, just stuff where we've had camera work done, where we know we got problems. We're going to try to get those figured out. If we can do point repairs, or does that need to be some contractor look at that and do that job right there because of where it's at, how deep it is. We're trying to get those things together too. But yeah, we are looking at, we try to keep our stock up and keep everything up because I've pre-bought pipe. I've got pipe sitting on the yard because we use it. And I wanted to have some extra for the prices go up. We've got some ductile iron, 6, 8, got plenty of sewer pipe to do these little projects we're talking about in this near future. I'm going to probably do I've been buying more hydrants as I go along because I've got a locked in price from when we bought the original. I can still buy them at a cheaper rate than I can on the market now, but that ends in March or May. I'll have to figure that out. I buy 5 at a time because that's basically my spending limit. But if I see a need, and we may come to y'all with a bulk purchase where y'all can approve it where I can't, but we might do that one more time.
I think the biggest point is with inflation, not just the supply line of being able to get it, but with inflation, if it's something you're going to use and you can buy it now, you're going to make back a better return on your investment than the money that's sitting in the bank making 0.5% or whatever it's making us. So, we're making money if it's stockpiled, if it's something that we know we're going to use. And that way we're not so at the mercy of the supply line, and we're in a better position to hold our costs for a little bit longer, is my thinking on it. Particularly chemicals. I don't know how much room, I don't know the shelf life of those things, but that's the one thing that would keep me awake at night, was worrying that we'd run out of chemicals to be able to treat water. So certainly anything you can buy ahead on that will keep, and you have a place to keep it. I think we would all be in favor of trying to do that. I know I would be.
Yeah, we keep a close eye. We do have one issue with meters. We running pretty low, and we hope to get about 60 of them in the middle of next month. We've pre-ordered them a long time ago, but it's just been a long lead time. And I think everybody's having this problem with especially the brand we buy. They got a long, same thing with the trucks. Chips is the chip in them is causing this issue. I know Census has been trying to find an optional maker of the chips that they buy to help try to get production up, but and I've actually ordered I got 2 orders out and waiting on 2. I've got one supposed to be here in February and one will be here later. But we are trying to watch all that and keep up with best as you can track it and keep up with it.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. I just want to provide an update. If you look on page 2 of your notes, at that time I gave an update on TDEC's non-competitive grant allocation to the county. That was under their initial proposal. They did go back and change that after some feedback. So our grant allocation went down. And the reason for that is the original allocation was only went out to 95 counties. The new allocation goes out to 95 counties and 270 cities. So that reduced our allocation. Our allocation went from 3,435,000 down to 2,984,000. However, they also dropped our match requirement. We went from a 40% match requirement down to 30. So we lost about $450,000 in grant money, and our match went down $478,000. So just want to let everybody know, update those numbers, that they did release their final plan, I think shortly before Christmas, and I have looked at it, and just want to update you on that decrease in allocation, but also decrease in local match.
Tommy, if we need to add to the agenda next month for us to consider a budget line item on, for you to be able to get more supplies, let us know. We'll be prepared for that. Thank you all for a productive meeting. And does anybody else have anything? I'll take a motion for adjourn. No, first, second, and second, all in favor? Aye. And we're adjourned. Have a great evening. Thank you all. Stay safe.